Hello, everyone. Grateful to be here today, as is the Council of Light. And we just completed our 111 Galactic Gateway transmission. It was beautiful. And we did a lot to support the body devas at this time. And I wanted to speak a little bit to like what was shared in that and do a process um, related, because what I'm seeing is there is a lot of body Deva stuff coming up right now because of the current, I'm going to call it energetic contraction through the birth canal for ascension for Gaia Earth. And then because body devas are aspects of Gaia Earth, they also experience um, that evolutionary impulse and push. And we dove really deep into all these layers in that galactic gateway um, transmission, the 111 transmission. But I'm going to just speak to a process here to help with the bodies and explain a little bit why stuff is coming up for body devas right now. One of the main themes collectively is the body devas are beginning to awaken more. And as the body devas awaken more, then become aware that they're maybe being controlled a little bit by the soul that's riding on the front of the spine. And they want their autonomy, they want their sovereignty, they want their power. So they start to feel disempowered. They start to feel like they don't have control of themselves, or they don't have their own authority, or they don't have um, the ability to choose for themselves. And so, what you can do as a conscious soul is to first be aware that you have partnered with a nature spirit to incarnate on Earth, like riding a horse. And we've done tons of videos on our channel. We did a whole series, if you look on our website, um, around explaining what the body deva is and how to get in your own lane in relationship to the body deva. And right now it's so, so, so important. One of them they were reminding me was Body Deva Upgrade to 5D. That was one series that I can point to where we really looked at how to get in our own lane in relationship to the Body Deva. When the body feels disempowered, it can create all kinds of imbalances to try to get its power back, meaning health issues, financial issues, relationship issues. Um, so play with the idea that you as a conscious soul, you wouldn't be listening to this if you weren't a conscious soul, an awakened soul, awakening more every day. Part of like what you signed up for in this incarnation was to help midwife Gaia's ascension. And because you would be riding with an aspect of her 24/7, i.e., a body deva of Earth, nature spirit of Earth, you could support that nature spirit of Earth in its evolutionary process by making sure you weren't controlling it, letting it choose for itself, getting in your own lane, letting it be in its own lane, retrieving all your control off of it, any energy you have in its energetic fields, trying to manage it or fix it or change it. What would it feel like to let the body deva have the reins for itself? The body has its own consciousness, its own energetic fields. So play with this idea of, okay, I'm going to invite my higher self to retrieve all my energy off the body's energetic fields, off the body deva. And as I'm saying it, and as you're choosing it, it's happening, not without your choice. And then the body starts to relax because it starts to feel like it's not being controlled by something outside of itself, which is the sovereignty it deeply craves and the empowerment. And it's also the call right now, the call into collectively greater sovereignty, greater empowerment. So we can proactively do it. Give the body its reins back. Body Deva, I'm going to return all responsibility back to you for you. You get to manage your own fields. You get to manage whether you have or don't have. I'm not going to micromanage you anymore. And so we're going to show you how to do that. And we're going to show you what it feels like, how to, and that it's safe to do it, and how you can function beyond it in a healthy co-creative way, where you're then collaborating with the body, Deva, nature, spirit, allowing it to have its own autonomy, its own responsibility for itself. You as a being, as a soul, are only holding responsibility for you, for your own energetic fields, for your own issues and challenges, which are not the body's. If the body has an issue or a challenge, that's for the body to work with. But you can coach, you can encourage, you can help the body become aware of what it's doing. But then it's hands off. You're the observer, you're the guide through this evolutionary process. And when I look at this week began really a beginning of a 2-year cycle, 6-year cycle, which also one of those initiated today with the Galactic 111 Stargate. Um, this is a corridor for transformation, can be empowered transformation if we choose for it to be, purification simultaneously as we transform. So there is a fire element to that, fire purification, and a water element to that, purification. Aspects of the 111 transmission went through each one of the elements and helping the body come into a harmonic relationship with every single element of Earth so that it can move through this corridor in a balanced, harmonic way, accessing all of its resources. We also then looked at how the body can begin to receive its galactic inheritance, its galactic resources, and to use those to support it through this process, which kind of was a missing piece to the puzzle, if you will. So the body was really contorting itself, trying to use just the elements of Earth to balance itself through this evolutionary process, and it needed access to its galactic resources also to be able to do that, to be able to start blooming into its next level human form, etheric human form, which has a galactic aspect to it. And so what we're going to do is an energetic process for this piece, for this audience on our YouTube channel, is we're going to bring in a process to help you and your body release all empathic stuff you're feeling that is not yours, that's other body devas feeling super disempowered, wanting their power back because they're starting to awaken to that they're their own being, and there's a soul riding on the front of my spine that's not allowing me to have my free will choice. So there's kickback. So we invite you to take a deep breath in, leaning into your line of light, firmly attaching to the front of the body's spine, remembering you as a being of light that emanates from source, like a ray of light emanates from the sun. Retrieving all your energy, your awareness, your focus into the now, into your vertical column of light. We're going to invite the body and the teams to do the same, orienting as one with source. Then we invite your higher selves to work with the guides using your energetic fields to scan for where you or your body may be empathically feeling other body devas or other nature spirits of Earth that are going through this feeling disempowered, feeling not, it's like feeling controlled, not free. And we invite you at the level of your higher selves, Body Davis higher selves and teams, to return all that empathic, any of it that's not yours, back to its right and perfect place, along with all relevant and appropriate energetic information, where they have the capacity to receive it. Return all responsibility for shifting it back to them. It's there to wake them up. Return it back to them, send information, and return responsibility for it. And you can even bring in appropriate sounds, light, energetic tones to clean your energetic fields, energetic sacred shapes to clean your fields of all those empathic vibrations. Might even be ancestral. Return it, send information. And then inviting you, your body, your teams to activate and amplify to the degree that you choose greater empowerment within yourselves, greater freedom within yourselves, or whatever it is you're after. Maybe greater sovereignty. And that allows you to be an ambassador for modeling where humanity's going. You become the lighthouse, the beacon, the way shower. And then retrieve any of your fabric off of anyone you're empathically feeling, any wanting or desire for them to be more awake, more aware, more evolved, different in any way. Retrieving all your wanting, desire, your creative energy, your gifts, your wisdom, your mastery off of them, clean it, recalibrate it, re-embed it on you. Body, team, same. And then that takes you out of that intense empathic experience of what they're going through. Good. Balance and stabilize, update all grids, all reference points, all ways in which you perceive and are perceived. Shake out, reboot. And there's one other piece I'm going to speak to and maybe even expand on a little bit more than what I did in the transmission earlier. And that has to do with this idea of releasing interpretations and conclusions that aren't true. This is kind of shifting gears a little bit, but it's a very important piece of the puzzle for current energetic terrain and what is to come. I was shown this analogy, this idea of how the mind works. It's like if we decide something is a certain way, we will actually block our awareness of things and we can't see it. It's like we create blind spots for ourselves. And so that's kind of what conclusions do, or interpretations that we're really attached to do. And these conclusions or interpretations aren't necessarily always conscious. These might be conclusions or interpretations that we inherited in the womb or in another incarnation, and we've just been carrying it unconsciously. That creates a blind spot, or we have a grid that holds a certain belief, which is the same as a conclusion that creates a blind spot. We're not able to see fully, clearly all the evidence in front of us. And so the metaphor, the analogy, the example they gave me was this idea of imagine that you are going to the kitchen in someone's home and you're there as a guest and you're asking for a can opener. And they say to you, it's in the drawer over there. And so you go to the drawer, and for some reason, you think that can openers are yellow. And that's just something that's always been something you experienced. Oh, well, can openers are yellow. Every can opener I've ever seen is yellow, so they must all be yellow. We might not have that whole conversation and play it out, but that's like what's concluded somewhere in our psyche. Oh, well, can openers are yellow. So when you open the drawer and you're looking for the can opener, you can't see it because you don't see a yellow anything. Or if there's yellow in there, it's not a can opener. And you're rifling through and you're like, I don't see it. I can't, you close the drawer and you walk over to your friend or your host and you say, there's not a can opener in there. And they walk over to the drawer, the host, and they open it and they pull out the can opener. And it's like stainless steel or a different color. And you're like, it takes you a minute to orient. And you're like, oh, I guess that is a can opener. Hmm. That example, while it's simple, is hopefully one that doesn't trigger anyone in any way because it's just a can opener. It's not anything that we've attached a certain meaning to. Um, is an example of how the mind will limit what we perceive, what we see, how we see, which then influences what we think, what we feel. And so play with this idea that the silly example of a can opener can be a touchstone for you, and maybe you reinvent it in a way that's more aligned for you, of why it's so important, especially during this time of navigating unprecedented terrain, physical dimension. We need to be able to see clearly everything in front of us. And so when you partner with your higher self and you simply make the request, I'm willing to release all the conclusions I've made at any moment about anything that is not absolute truth. Will you help me? Will you release any conclusions I've made that is not true, that is not an absolute, always situation? It's like being invited to be unhypnotized by your higher self. Then you allow. Then you be willing to release all the meaning you've given everything. We're going to model this. And we're going to walk you through a process. We invite you at the level of your higher self, bodies, higher self, and teams, to work with the energetic fields and the guides to locate a super safe, supportive dimension where you can go and sit across from your higher self, which is you in a higher realm. Body Deva is sitting across from its higher self, teams are sitting across from their higher selves, everybody in their own lane. Ascended masters are helping support this. And as you lean in to you as a being, feel into this idea of you in absolute truth, that you are light. You are an aspect of the divine, a unique aspect of the divine that emanates from Source itself. You have a divine spark in the heart of Source. And take a moment, if you choose, to create a touchstone for truth there as that resonance. I am that I am. And from this place, we invite you to anchor into the truth of you. And are you willing to release your attachment to everything you've identified as, decided was true, concluded was true, that actually isn't true, in order to have more of what is true? Are you willing to release all the meaning you've given what is less than truth and what has you identifying as less than what you are? And whatever doesn't allow that, will you release and uncreate it? And so just imagine inviting your higher self to do this for you from that higher perspective. Higher self, will you release all conclusions I've made that aren't true? I'm willing to release all the meaning I've given it. I'm willing to release all judgments, conclusions, interpretations that I decided for myself or inherited that are not true. Maybe it's someone else's interpretation that we agreed to at some point, and it's not actually accurate. or things have shifted. Maybe it was accurate at the time, but now it isn't. The whole terrain is different now. The chess pieces have moved, so to speak. And retrieving all reference points for you, for your identity, for even where you're referencing home off of everyone and everything in the external back to your line of light, anchoring deeply into your own core line of light. There we go. Balance and stabilize. Update all grids, all reference points, all ways in which you perceive and are perceived. One last piece that I didn't get to in the 111 Stargate, Galactic Stargate transmission, we actually went over a little bit, and I didn't get to this piece. It's really speaking more to just helping us refine the remembering of, and it links a little bit with what we just talked about. It's like in the spiritual community, we can sometimes learn that if we feel something strongly enough, it will manifest. We're not going to say that isn't true, but there's a more refined way of looking at it that's more empowering, that's more efficient, that's more aligned, that's actually more on target. It's a deeper way of looking at it. And this is one example of why it's important on our journey as a spiritual being to release conclusions that no longer serve. If we think that's the only way, or we think, oh, let me feel this feeling, and that's how I conjure and create. Take a moment, feel into. It's like we limit ourselves. So take a moment, feel into. Are there moments, like you as a being intellectually may know, and maybe in the past, maybe not currently, this might not be all of you, but you might have been taught in spiritual teachings to feel gratitude, for instance, in order to draw to you things to be grateful for. We wouldn't say it that way, but that's the way it's kind of the narrative in the collective, in a lot of spiritual circles. We would refine that. And we would say a feeling originates first as a vibration. And there are times when you can't conjure a feeling. And it takes a lot of effort. If something's not harmonic in your world and you're trying to conjure gratitude, it can feel not authentic. It can feel out of alignment. It can feel like a lot of effort. And we would say there's an easier way. So what we would say is that the feeling is first a vibration. And if you know that, the vibration informs the feeling. The vibration will inform the thought. The vibration will inform everything. You don't conjure the vibration from the feeling as efficiently as you do the other way around. Meaning, rather than attempting to function as a being trying to conjure emotions, to feel a certain way in order to create a certain experience for yourself, that can set you up for spiritual bypassing, which is a whole nother conversation. What we would encourage you to function in and with is this idea of partnering with your higher self. It is you. We just did a process where you sit across from your higher self and you release conclusions that are not true. You can use that same type of process to do anything. to sit across from your higher self in an appropriate dimension and to make a request. And what we would say is that it's a very simple, efficient way. Invite your higher self to activate the vibration of whatever it is, whatever quality, whether it's gratitude or joy or support or safety or calm, whatever it is that you desire. Invite your higher self to activate the vibration in your column of light. And they've shown me this before, this metaphor. It's like harp strings or an instrument with strings. Imagine that your column of light has these threads, these strings. You're an instrument. You have resonance. You're a vibrational being, first and foremost. And you can invite your higher self to pluck the string to generate the vibration of, not the feeling. That's the effect. The feeling is the effect, not the cause. Higher self, will you activate more support within me, please? And then just breathe and allow. You're not doing it. You're not efforting it. You're asking your higher self to pluck that string. And then you can invite your body, David, to do that for itself, and teams, same. That helps amplify it in the group field. But step one is you working with you, choosing for you, and then an invitation and encouragement for everyone else to do it, but not wanting for them to do it. I invite my higher self to activate and amplify this particular vibration in my column of light and to amplify it. And then you'll feel, given a minute, maybe not quite, maybe 2 minutes, you'll feel a shift. You might even feel a little bit of relief. You might feel more peaceful, more connected. You'll feel a little subtle energetic shift, or you'll just know it's complete. And then you balance and stabilize, update all grids, all reference points, check out, reboot. And then in a couple hours or next day, you can do it again. This is much more efficient way of conjuring what it is you're choosing than trying to effort it in a physical way. The physical is the reflection of the vibration behind the scenes. Thank you so much for joining us today, and you can visit our online store for any of the things we spoke to today, as well as other offerings, and we'll be back here soon. We welcome your feedback, and we're just encouraging you to navigate this 2-year, 6-year cycle that we just embarked into in an empowered way that harnesses the potency of this time for upgrades into new ways of being, next level thriving. We are also offering a new series that starts on the 19th of July. July. Can you tell I'm a little altered? On the 19th of January, it's a 5-week series and it's called Unlock the Hidden Treasure of You. And it is the templates for the thriving that we speak to that is available for all of us to step into as this opportunity to graduate out of the struggle is highlighted at this time. Everything is very malleable. And so we look forward to speaking with you soon. And in the interim, may you be encouraged and inspired to honor the light that is you during this potent time of evolution. Much love.